Outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Well, get ready for Patrick Christys' tonight's late edition, a very first look at all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, any breaking news we get as well. Just to give you a flavour of what's on the front, weird story this. British Air India families are sent the wrong bodies. That's on the front of the Daily Mail. It's probably the only way that whole situation could have got worse. The Sun have gone on the sad passing of Ozzy Osbourne, which we're going to be paying tribute to Ozzy Osbourne over the course of the show and having a look back at some of his more iconic moments as well. Stay tuned.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored. Very, very, very easy tonight. On the unpredictable. What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome to Patrick Christys' Tonight Late Edition, breaking right now.
I mean, we're in the Green Party, so not everybody
GB News understands that the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf has been taken over if a migrant detention centre overflows. But meanwhile...
Just Eat, Uber, Deliveroo, all couriers.
Well, get ready for this. It looks as though this is a victory for GB News. Our expose of the illegal working in the food delivery sector has changed government policy. Very shortly, we're going to be joined by our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, who's going to tell us exactly what this means. And...
If these are locals, why are they getting in a police car? Why are they getting in police cars? Why don't they just go home if they're local?
Well, the Daily Telegraph has just confirmed what many of us already knew. The police appeared to force a confrontation by bringing counter-demonstrators to the Epping migration protest. In other news... Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76, a matter of weeks after his dramatic farewell concert. Well, as you'd expect, this story is dominating the front pages, and we're going to be joined by someone who was with Kelly Osbourne, his daughter, just the other day. Well, joining us tonight is my wonderful panel. We have got GB News contributor and comedian Simon Evans, former Labour advisor Matthew Torbett and Reform councillor Jamie McIver. But first, let's get those headlines with Katie.
Good evening. Your latest headlines tonight. Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76. A statement from his family said it is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. Tributes are being paid from across the showbiz world this evening, with Sir Elton John calling him a huge trailblazer and Ronnie Wood saying he was very sad to learn of his death. Black Sabbath co-founder Tony Iommi has said he can't really find the words following the heartbreaking news of Ozzy Osbourne's death. As frontman of Black Sabbath, he styled himself as the Prince of Darkness and was at the forefront of the heavy metal scene. Earlier this month, he bid farewell to fans with a Black Sabbath reunion at Villa Park, telling the crowd that it was so good to be on this stage. Mr. Osbourne had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2019. Elsewhere today, resident doctors in England have confirmed that they will be going ahead with industrial action this week, striking for 5 days from 7 a.m. on Friday. The British Medical Association said that Health Secretary Wes Streeting's letter to the committee lacked any substantive proposal on both pay and non-pay elements, leaving them with no choice but to continue with planned action. Wes Streeting has said resident doctors have recklessly and needlessly opted for strike action, adding that his focus was now on averting harm to patients and supporting NHS staff at work. The strike is set to end at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, the 30th of July. A major incident has been declared and an arrest has been made following reports of a man acting suspiciously at an address in South Bristol. Avon and Somerset police said homes had been evacuated after concerns were raised with police at around 6 o'clock this evening. Those concerns relating to an individual at a property in South Liberty Lane who may have access to potentially explosive items. The road was closed to allow police, fire and ambulance crews to attend and remains shut at this time. No casualties have been reported. The man was safely detained by officers and arrested at 7:10. The Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit continues to work at the scene. Sir James Cleverly has returned to the Conservative Shadow Cabinet today as Shadow Housing Secretary. That's as leader Kemi Badenoch says she wants all of her heavy hitters on the front bench. Mr Cleverly will go up against Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner in his new role. He replaces Kevin Hollinrake, who moves to become Conservative Party chairman. In a statement, Mr Hollinrake said he was honoured to be appointed and that he'll work with the entire Conservative family. Other changes to the team include Nigel Huddleston moving to Shadow Culture Secretary and Stuart Andrew becoming Shadow Health Secretary after Edward Argar resigned the post earlier today due to a health scare. And the Lionesses are through to the final of Euro 2025 after a very tense semi-final clash against Italy. Serena Wiegmann's side won 2-1 after the match went to extra time, with Chloe Kelly scoring the winner. England are currently the holders of the title and the final will take place on Sunday. His Majesty the King has posted on social media tonight wishing the team our warmest congratulations and praising their remarkable journey. He signed off by saying, "Good luck, England, may you roar to victory once more." Those are your latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Late Edition. Let's get stuck straight into Wednesday's front pages. We start with the Metro. They've gone for pandemic aged our brains. So there we are. It'll be interesting to try to get the detail on that. Shock finding. Even if you never had COVID, apparently Britain's COVID pandemic aged all of our brains. So, all right, we'll dig into that a little bit later. The next one that we've got here is the Eye. British workers will get emergency access to pension cash under a plan to boost savings. So workers could have earlier access to an emergency pot of money tied to their retirement fund under plans being considered by ministers to help tackle the pension crisis. Well, so that would indicate that potentially they're rolling the wicket for some kind of assault on pensioners, but we'll have to wait and see what that is. The next paper is The Express. Now, warning, these are distressing images. For pity's sake, stop this now. The suffering of little Mohammed clinging on to life in Gaza hell shames us all. The next paper that we're going to look at now is the Daily Telegraph. The Daily Telegraph's probably the punchiest front page, I think. So the picture story they've got is Ozzy Osbourne. He said he died just 2 weeks after his last concert. You know, real kind of national icon, really, has gone today. They've also gone, police take pro-migrant protesters to asylum hotels. So there was a load of stand-ups to racism lot and anti-fascists, or whatever they want to call themselves, who basically got bussed into a protest outside the Epping Migrant Hotel, which is it's just a bit silly, really, I think. They also have the story, Zelensky faces first public protest since war began. And it is actually happening right now. We've got some video of it that we'll play to you later on. There is a big protest in Kiev tonight. So, yes, the next page that we're going to do, next front page, is The Sun. They've gone for a tribute for the wonderful Wizard of Ozzy. And then we've got the Daily Mail as well that have gone for British Air India families are sent the wrong bodies, which is an absolutely disgraceful thing that couldn't have happened. And finally, we've got The Guardian. Israel faces growing outrage over, quotes, indefensible killing of civilians. So actually, I mean, although the Express haven't really gone for it in the same way, I mean, The Guardian and the Daily Express's front pages are not dissimilar on Wednesday, which is a slightly odd thing. We have had some breaking news here that we can give you now. So GBNews' efforts to highlight abuses within the food delivery sector have led to new tougher controls aimed at stopping illegal immigrants being employed as delivery drivers. The Home Office has confirmed that the three main food delivery companies will introduce digital checks on who's delivering your takeaway. But for more detail on this now, we're joined by the man behind the policies and yet another victory lap for Mark White, our GB News' Home and Security editor. Mark, what is going on here then?
Well, as you know, Patrick, GB News has been highlighting the way in which the delivery driver sector has been infiltrated by illegal immigrants and asylum seekers. We've been highlighting that for more than 2 years now, especially this issue whereby those who have an account as a driver with the likes of Deliveroo or Just Eat can sublet these particular licences out to lots of other people, and that means that thousands of illegal immigrants and asylum seekers have been turning up with your takeaways and other people's takeaways. Well, now, in what seems to be a real U-turn here, the government is giving in to requests by the businesses themselves, so that's Uber Eats, Just Eat and Deliveroo, the main delivery companies, to give them the location of asylum seeker hotels. Thus far, the government has refused to do that under data protection measures advised by their civil servants. Now they're U-turning on this. Now they're going to make those locations available so that the delivery companies can actually take proper measures to geolocate and block the accounts of those that are working from hotels. Seems obvious, doesn't it? Seems simple. Why on earth have they not done it thus far is a big question, I think, that needs to be answered. When we were out in Brighton, and this was 2 years ago, we saw the scope of this explosion, really, in illegal delivery drivers using these delivery companies to make a fast buck. And we spoke to one immigration officer at the time who said it was a big and serious problem that immigration enforcement faced. This is what he said.
They're undercutting legitimate employers and they're undercutting legitimate employees, both who are trying to undertake things playing by the rules. And it really is a major issue.
So I think the delivery companies are quite happy with this U-turn now, and the hope will be that they can at least make some inroads into trying to do something. But listen, we know with those working in the illegal economy that they'll come up with another fix, a solution to circumvent whatever controls the government of the day puts in place. It's always a game of catch-up that the authorities are playing with these illegals.
Well, indeed. Well, Mark, thank you very much for bringing that to us and for talking us through the detail on it. You know, welcome step in the right direction if indeed they manage to clamp down on illegal working. But just while I've got you, there's the other story that's breaking tonight, which involves the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf, isn't it, in London. What do we know about this? Because we had quite an interesting interaction earlier on between my producer and someone at the Home Office who told us categorically this was not going to be in any way a migrant hotel, and then it looks like now maybe it is.
Well, this is very significant. It's come from our political editor, Christopher Hope, this evening, who has managed to get this confirmed that, first of all, the Britannia Hotel, which is that large hotel in the Canary Wharf complex, is going to be used as a contingency hotel. It's been taken over by the Home Office, I'm sure at no small cost initially, and it will be used as a contingency. And why is it being used as a contingency? Well, you saw for yourself, Patrick, just yesterday in Calais, many more migrants now massing on the northern shores of France with a view to coming over to the UK during the summer months. And it's the summer surge we always get, but it's going to be very significant this year, there's no doubt. We're already 50% ahead of where we were last year in terms of migrant numbers. And given what you saw yesterday, it's clear that many thousands are going to be attempting that crossing as soon as the weather allows in the next week or two. And what happens is that they go to the main processing centre at Manston, but that processing centre can be very quickly clogged up. If you get 1,000 a day crossing, it can take a good few days to clear them. If you then get a run of 2 or 3 or 4 days where very significant numbers are crossing, then that place just completely breaks down. So that's what's happening with the Britannia. It's a fail-safe, a contingency that if they really get, as they're expecting, these very significant numbers, they can very quickly filter them out to the Britannia while they deal with others coming into Manston.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the rooms there. It's a 4-star hotel, I believe. It's got a nice little spa area as well. Yeah, certainly beats what's going on in the camps I was at yesterday. Mark, thank you very, very much. And I know you're going to be a very busy man tomorrow with all of these stories as well. So Mark White there, GB News' Home and Security Editor. Sorry, a bit later than expected, really. But we'll bring my panel in now. Thanks for turning up, guys. So this...
It's nice to see it all.
Yeah, you know, it's nice to be here, really, isn't it? So this, the one there, I think, about the Matchy now bothering to try to get things like identification for Deliveroo and all that to stop them working illegally. Is that a good thing? Is it an obvious thing, do you think? Or?
Well, I mean, obviously the major problem is that they're here at all. The major problem is that they're having to be accommodated. They're moving them out of hotels and into private rental accommodation, which is forcing up prices and distributing the potential threat they represent into communities, whereas previously they were isolated inside a Holiday Inn. It might have arguably been a more contained situation. The Deliveroo thing is arguably... You know, some people would say if they're going to be here, they should work, but I personally find it pretty disgusting, yeah. And it's extraordinarily visible, isn't it? That's part of the aspect of it. It's absolutely in your face. Every time you enter the street after about 6 o'clock in the evening, you know, there's just loads of them swarming around. They have a new, slightly wasp-like kind of presence, you know, on these weird semi-motorised bicycles and so on. I personally think it's a sign of decline of Western civilization generally, that people can't either be bothered to go to their own takeaway and have a chat over the counter and then bring back a bag of curry, or indeed, dare I suggest it, cook. But,
no, we can't have that.
I suppose there was a time when I was a regular patron of the pizza deliveries in South London when they were considered not politically inflammatory.
I must say, I must say, I actually had one of the best curry curries of my life last night in northern France at a place called Kashmir. So there we go. I just thought I'd shout that out.
Kashmir.
Not watching.
You've wandered into a minefield straight away.
I have. Yeah. But anyway, right. So we'll bring up the front page of the Daily Telegraph, I think, because that is a big one. But it kind of feeds in, doesn't it? So we've had Jamie, the fact that. Near one of your local asylum seeker hotels, the police have bussed in protesters, but now they're also, it would look like anyway, going to bus in a load of other illegal migrants to the Britannia Hotel. We were hearing there. That's the breaking news.
I think this is just part of the bigger problem. I mean, first of all, what were the police thinking? As though like no one would find out about this when public trust is already at an all-time low. And I back the police all day long, and they do it. They're brave, and those officers on the front line, it's not their fault. They got orders from above, and I blame the operational control for actually even going there with this one. I think the excuse is very weak, but you've got a very sensitive community here that are basically saying unvetted people come to this country, get put in a hotel, you've got homeless veterans on the street, our women and girls aren't safe. That's our argument, that's our protest. And then you find out the people that are coming along to try and make that a violent protest, I was there, these left-wing mob, they were shouting for serving MPs to be burnt alive. They were calling children far-right Nazi scum. These were vile people, and they've had some kind of shelter of protection and been escorted out. Like, they've given it out. They couldn't take it back because, of course, our lot said, go away, what are you doing here? So, give it out, can't take it back. Crocodile tears, taxpayer-funded chauffeur back to the station. I mean, it's an insult. And if you phone the police in Essex because your motor's been nicked, which I'm afraid happens all the time, they don't show up. People with machetes turn up to their house, break through their gates and nick their cart. They work damn hard to drive, and the police don't show up, yet they show up for this.
Does it just feel, Matthew, I don't know whether or not because I'm, quite immersed in it here. GBNews, we talk about the migrant crisis a lot. I've obviously just got back from Calais and Dunkirk. But it feels to me now, you see the headline on the Telegraph, you see the reporting that we've done, Mark White stuff there with the Deliveroo issue, then you got the Britannia Hotel. It's all this, it just feels like we can't go on like this. Something's got to give here.
No, I think you'd have to say the government has done enough or should not have been acting quicker. I think there is an argument, which no one will like, that if you're here so long, the potential to pay for themselves could be enticing. And I actually think, I seem to remember working on a policy in opposition for the Labour Party, that if you had been waiting on a claim for 6 months or longer, you would be allowed to work. Now, a lot of people say that's a pull factor. I hear that. Studies by the Migration Observatory have always said it isn't. It's almost negligible. So I thought, OK, fair enough, I'm open to listening. And I just think we spend so much, as you said, on this sort of stuff, hotels alone and whatever else. It would bring in around 400, this is old figures, it may be more now with where we're at, £400 million to the Exchequer. And we've missed out on £1 billion since the scheme came in. So I think maybe tackling like that, because if you've got to give your digital ID to Uber Eats or one of these lot, who's to say you're not selling the profile on anyway? Because that's what's been happening, pretending to be somebody else and you're buying it online.
We might charge them £4,500 for an application fee if they're prepared to pay that to go on a small boat to potentially get turned away. Wishful thinking they'd get turned away, but actually you might as well charge them a couple of grand to actually apply.
Yeah, send the Royal Yacht Britannia down to Calais and pick them up,
Yeah, and take them to the Britannia Hotel as well,
Can I just say, by the way, on the police thing and busing the protesters, they have form on this. This is not the first time this has happened. I remember seeing a lot of evidence on demonstrations. I remember don't look back in anger. Remember after the Manchester bombing, there was some anti-Muslim protests, understandably, in Manchester that day. The police deliberately led them in to danger, to clash with there was footage of protesters going, we don't want to go there. We want to be able to make our own protest, make our own voices heard, and instead they were funneled into an inevitable collision.
And it kicked off.
Because then they can say with some legitimacy, oh, you see, it's violence, these people just want violence.
I don't remember it that way. I was there.
I remember seeing it.
What I remember is that they didn't really get near. Now, if somebody's bumped into him en route to the vigil, as such as it was the following day after the attack, that may have been the case. They certainly didn't get near the vigil, and it was a nice atmosphere.
I just remember thinking what a stupid thing to say. Don't look back in anger. I'm very angry about it.
Yeah, and maybe if we'd expressed a bit more coherent and articulate and strident anger at the time, it might have registered. Might possibly have sunk in.
Well, because especially it turned out that we had imported that guy and paid for his mum's benefits when she was still in Libya. So it really kind of had it all, that story, didn't it? And not for a good reason. But anyway, coming up in just a moment's time.
Preceded by his infamy.
I looked evidently through an unconscious bat on the stage, and he thought it was a rubber bat.
I know, it's remarkable. Until then, I actually forgot that Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off a bat.
Surely every national treasure, sooner or later.
Yeah. The line here now is, we pay tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, so I'm not sure what they're going to
All the vegans are having a meltdown.
Yeah, maybe do something with a bat or something like that. But anyway, we'll see. This is Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo Tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Front page of the Times today says exercise proves the best therapy for keeping cancer at bay. Let's get the views of Tim Vincent.
It's quite an exciting trial, this. There's new findings every single day, isn't it? But I think this has been done over many years by a lot of people. And it actually says, what you'd assume would be the case is that if you exercise, then it keeps your health in a better condition and will keep cancer from returning measurably, notably. So I think it's 30-something%. And this is on people that have had cancer and then are encouraged to exercise. And there's many doctors over the years have said, not quite sure. If you feel like you can exercise, then exercise. They're now saying you should exercise as soon as you feel good enough.
This
will make a big difference.
This makes me feel awful because I would have been pro-exercise, except I can't move. I'm in a wheelchair now, and I can't put on the right trainers, I can't change, I can't go to the showers, I can't do things. It's just I can't stand up. So there are a lot of people who are incapable of exercising, and therefore, rightly so, we see their increase of cancer growing.
Absolutely, and that's an issue that everybody's going to face, and you're obviously in a really difficult position. Any exercise, I think, is going to help, especially for these people that have had cancer once and can get out there. And it's very isolating as well, exercising.
So you're actually saying, if you're in redemption from cancer or whatever, you could keep it at bay by exercising.
It's actually better than a pill.
Yeah,
the results are actually better than a pill.
I think it's 36%, isn't it, for exercise?
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Let's go with the Sun's front page. They are paying tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. They've got a farewell to a rock icon on pages 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The wonderful Wizard of Ozzy. He's just 76 years old, but, I mean, he had a life, didn't he? 76 years old. The national treasure and self-proclaimed Prince of Darkness passed away surrounded by his loving family. He was known for all sorts of stuff, not just the music, of course, also bat-biting antics. The reality TV show The Osbournes, featuring his wife Sharon and their kids. And I think we're going to play you a couple of clips in a second. But let's go first to showbiz journalist Sarah Louise Robertson, who was actually with Kelly Osbourne, Ozzy's daughter, just a few days ago. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Well, he was on the stage performing just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he?
Yes, that's correct, Patrick. But as you could see in that last speech that he made, his last public speech thanking fans, he really wasn't. He was a shadow of his former self, shall we say? Obviously, he was afflicted with Parkinson's disease. He went public with his diagnosis in 2019, and you could see the effort that it took for him to be on that stage, but how fitting that he was able to have that one last time with his fans and with his beloved Black Sabbath bandmates in his home city of Birmingham, watched behind the stage by all of his family, including daughter Kelly, who I was talking to just recently.
Yes, so what was that conversation with Kelly like then?
It was lovely. I mean, I've chatted to Kelly quite a few times over the years, as I have Ozzy and Sharon. I'll get to my tribute with Ozzy in a minute. But Kelly said about how proud she was of her father. She was just about to get recently engaged, so that was lovely. She was celebrating that. But she was talking about basically Ozzy's big move from Beverly Hills back to his beloved England. And she said he was so happy to be back. She told me, her words were, he loves the house, but he's waiting for the dogs to get here. Because the thing was about Ozzy, I know obviously we touched about the bat, and he has apologised about that because he thought it was a rubber bat. But Ozzy just loved his pets. If you grew up watching the reality show The Osbournes, you know how much he adored his dogs and cats. And Kelly alluded to that and said, you know, he's just waiting for his dogs to be reunited with the dogs over here. But obviously with them being in LA, it took time for them to be able to come back. But Kelly was thrilled that as a family, they were all back together again in the UK. I mean, you wonder, don't you, did Ozzy have a sense of time? His time was sadly coming to an end. I don't know. I think maybe he went out the way that he wanted to. He was this absolute icon of rock, an absolute pioneer of the heavy metal music scene. He put British heavy metal music on the map. He was beloved around the world, absolutely adored. Yeah. One of those worldwide figures that, you could go to any country and they'll all heard of Ozzy Osbourne. And I just think, the urgency with which he... Well, actually, no, I wouldn't say urgency, but that they all came back together as a family, and for Ozzy to do that one last concert, I just think it was so fitting a goodbye for him. He couldn't have chosen a better way for him to go out, I think.
Absolutely. Well, so thank you so much, and we'll see you again very, very soon. It's Sarah Louise Robertson there, showbiz journalist. Let's play play one of the more iconic clips of Ozzy Osbourne's life, shall we? It was a bad day to be a bat.
Thanks,
Aided by his infamy.
I evidently threw an unconscious bat on the stage, and he thought it was a rubber bat, whatever, and he picked it up and bit the head off.
And Sharon's going, "Tommy, it's real." I'm going, what?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. We've got another clip as well, I think, have we? Of this is also Ozzy Osbourne.
Sharon! To my house. Sharon, this is a joke. I'm trying to get out of this damn place.
Wait! Come on.
Sharon! Sharon! Sharon!
I'm a little bit country.
I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Wow, just such a great character, Ozzy. But that reality show with the Osbournes was a real start.
It was an unexpected second act for him, wasn't it? I mean, there is a part of me feels a bit like when Richard Griffiths died and all the papers said Harry Potter star dies, and I'm like, I saw him in Brecht at the Almeida dying. I remember the 70s when Black Sabbath were a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they really were the birth of heavy metal. Led Zeppelin had that kind of blues thing, but Sabbath really, defined the genre, and it all came out of the industrial West Midlands, and it was a source of enormous pride for a lot of blokes.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a reality star who was a sort of lovable buffoon, He'd been part of an enormously important musical movement in this country, and then a couple of great solo albums with a fantastic guitarist called Randy Rhoads, who died too young in a plane accident. That was a big part of my childhood.
Wow.
So I'm sorry to see him go on that front, and to be honest, I can take it or leave it. Once he became a reality star, I was never that bothered with that nonsense, But I understand, you want to see the clip of the bat. But honestly, put on Paranoid at volume turned up to 11 and you'll get a flavour of why the man was known about in the first place.
Right, I see, yeah. Well, he had a really interesting life, and his antics, and he was a proper hellraiser, I mean, it's amazing he made it to 76, I think.
I think so. Hell of a life. You know, some of the experiences he must have had. And it's funny how he obviously transcended generations. I said earlier, I didn't listen to the music, but found him utterly hilarious on the reality TV. And, you know, they sort of had...
The two genders, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it was great. You know, they were total chaos. He had about 90 dogs and they'd crap everywhere and Sharon would get the blame and all the rest of it. Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. He'd be missed by a lot of people, obviously.
There is a clip that cracks me up. I don't think we've quite got it yet, but it absolutely cracks me up where he comes out of his bedroom and he's going, Sharon, someone's come into my room and they've stolen my beer. And then she's like, no, they haven't, Ozzy. You've drunk it. Who's the beer thief? And he's like, I'm the beer thief, you know. But yeah, anyway, just today he was
She did rescue him apparently from decline after he was sacked by Black Sabbath for his drink and drugs. She was sent round by her father, who was the manager, to look after him and make sure he didn't top himself or fall into the and it all grew out of that, the whole second act. So it's quite a sweet story in that regard.
Oh, bless. Well, there we are. Yeah, I mean, we'll whiz ourselves on, I think, shall we? We've got quite a lot still to come. We're going to be speaking to the one person who was interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. Now, the Trump administration is apparently going to make contact with her. This is, of course, in the wake of apparently now that Epstein file didn't exist, never existed. Why Epstein file? Oh, not allowed to talk about it. No. Well, why is she still in prison then? Anyway, so, yes, we're going to speak to someone who's interviewed her. Stay tuned.
Evening. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A messy picture again tomorrow. A lot of cloud, some sunny spells and a few heavy showers, which may turn into thunderstorms across parts of the south. The pressure pattern is a messy mixture, flabby area of low pressure just sitting to the north of Scotland. That's helped to generate some lively downpours today. They're tending to fade away now, but more showers coming into Wales and southwest England through the night, also likely to affect the South Midlands. Might get woken up by a rumble of thunder here and there. But many places will become dry. There'll be some breaks in the cloud, temperatures holding up in the teens. On to Wednesday's detail, and as I said, it is still pretty messy, likely to start with outbreaks of rain over South Wales, parts of southern England, the South Midlands, also northwestern parts of Scotland, but probably through the central belt, southern Scotland, decent chance of a dry start, maybe even some sunshine here and there. A mixture of clouds and a few showers for Northern Ireland, but also perhaps some bright spells. And a brighter start for northeast England, parts of East Anglia also starting off with some sunshine. But in this zone over South Wales, southwest England, parts of the Midlands, a fair bit of cloud and some scattered heavy showers. And through the day, we're likely to see more showers developing, especially in southernmost counties of England, up into parts of East Anglia, where we could see a few slow-moving thunderstorms, dropping a lot of rain in just one or two locations, whereas, 5 miles away, it may be completely dry. Not too many showers further north, decent chance of a drier day here. Temperatures about average, with some sunshine, though it will feel quite warm. We should see a bit more sunshine on Thursday and not as many showers. Having said that, still quite grey across parts of eastern England with some outbreaks of rain coming in from the North Sea. The odd shower elsewhere, but it should be fairly light. As I said, many places looking dry on Thursday, a bit brighter as well, probably feeling a little warmer as well. Temperatures mostly high teens to low 20s.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Oh, welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. We're going to do this in a second, but the Daily Mail's front page is an absolutely astonishing story. British Air India families are sent the wrong bodies. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But before that, the Trump administration has requested to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell over what information she holds on Jeffrey Epstein. It comes amid mounting pressure on the US president and his relationship with the financier, which he says he is facing a witch hunt, OK? Well, I'm joined now by journalist Daphne Barak. Daphne, thank you very much. Now, I've been told that you have interviewed or spoken with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. Is that right?
It was one of the biggest television interviews around the world. Yeah, we CBS, president of production, Susan Zerinsky, and I worked on it for a while, and it was the front pages in your country as well, like ITV, Daily Mail, Sun, for pages and pages. The only TV interview is Ghislaine Maxwell.
And what's your main takeaway from Ghislaine? Because she's in a very unusual position now, isn't she, really? Which is that we've just been told that supposedly the Epstein client list doesn't exist, but we've also been told previously that it does exist. And if it doesn't exist, then it does beg the question, why is she behind bars?
I think that's a real question. Basically, that was supposed to be a pyramid, right? Of one getting. I also I'm the only one who spoke with Virginia Giuffre the last month before she died. I'm thinking like there was a pyramid. Everybody admits that, and how come there's only one person in jail? It's a question.
Do you think
Ghislaine is Patrick? Ghislaine is not. The problem of Donald Trump, who's been my friend since I was 20, is not Ghislaine. The problem is basically the Jeffrey Epstein has a life of his own, right? And Dolan is trying to do peace in the Middle East between Hamas and Israel and try to deal with Iran and the tariff and everything. Epstein keeps popping. And Pam Bondi, the Attorney General appointed by him, said that, hey, the client list is sitting on my desk. So, of course, the MAGA, Donald Trump's base, which were promised that everything will be transparent and will be released, we're waiting, and suddenly there was so surprised that she came with a statement 2 weeks ago, and she said, no, there's no client list. No, he was not murdered. He committed suicide, and there's no client list. So why did you say it's sitting on my desk? So that's a problem. And this morning she released a statement that they're going to meet with Ghislaine. I have known about it for days, about the negotiation with Ghislaine.
Okay.
And we were all stunned that she made a statement they're going to meet, because people like me who were in the know-how, we were told just to keep quiet about that. And it's not true that she's going to talk. It's just true that they're going to meet, and Ghislaine wants to be out. She will not talk before she will be out.
So she's going to tell the Trump administration, you think, that she'll only talk to them if they release her first?
First of all, she's in a very tough prison. I interviewed her 4 times for the big special. I met her, first of all, in MDC, which is where P. Diddy is right now. It's probably the worst prison ever. Of course, they cleaned the prison for me, but it's bad, right? And Tallahassee is a very tough prison, and she's in danger. So there's no reason for her to talk and bring more danger to herself. And why would she talk?
All right. Well, thank you very much, Daphne. I must say, I really look forward to speaking to you again. And take care. All the best. All the best. It's Daphne Barak there, who is a top journalist. That's only on the Daily Mail. Very different story, this. British Air India families are sent the wrong bodies. This is the plane crash. I mean, it's just absolutely disgraceful that this could happen, isn't it? Or Jamie, go on.
Well, I mean, it's just, as someone that's worked in aviation, like, you just can't imagine that an airline would make such an error over such a sensitive... I mean, surely people, like, double-check, triple-check these sorts of things. You like to think so, but you know, your heart just breaks for the families, really. Can it get any worse that your loved one texts you and says, you know, I'm landing at this time, You arrange kind of your life around, when your loved ones are on their way back from holiday, especially if they've been away for a while.
Yeah.
You arrange your life on them coming back, and it sends a shiver down my spine at the thought of those families getting that call and then seeing the video, because of 24-hour media, seeing the video of that plane crashing, wondering if they've survived or not. You then find out they haven't sadly survived, and then the body comes back. That must in itself be quite comforting to be able to know that the body's on its way home, and then to get the wrong body, knowing it's someone else's loved one. It's just awful, and I'm sure it's not deliberate. Of course it isn't, but it's just awful.
I'm just trying to understand quite what the remains, what form they take, because it said in another distressing case, the commingled remains of more than one person killed in the crash were mistakenly placed in the same casket. Are we talking about ashes? Or are we talking about body parts? I mean, I'm trying to picture what they're
my takeaway from it will be body parts, because realistically, how are you going to... would you DNA test the ashes? I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you would. But casket is it's one of those... I don't know, they mean coffin, do they? I mean, I'm just trying to picture what's actually happening here. But that is absolutely horrific. It's like some sort of Frankenstein...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm not being funny...
It's not a scandal on the scale of Epstein, I will say, but we're not going to be allowed to address that, I see, so OK.
Well, we can, I suppose. I mean, but I'll get one more on the Air India stuff. I mean, it's all got very weird as well, isn't it now that they think that one of the pilots did it? So he cut the fuel off, and it's all got very odd.
Yes, and I believe it's not easy to do that. It's not the sort of thing you would do by accident. I was worried this may be the case on the front of the Mail. I spoke to a Labour MP 2 weeks ago, and they said they'd had real issues. They represent quite a high population of Hindu constituency. And 3 constituents had had family members in the crash, unfortunately, and they were really struggling to find out any information whatsoever with the Indian authorities. And I worry that this may have happened to them, because obviously they were quite frantic, because in the Hindu faith, very spiritual, and the idea is you have the funeral ASAP when somebody has died. So not only are you stopping that by not being able to maybe sort through the bodies, but now you're potentially cremating the wrong person.
Yes.
Dreadful, really, on all levels.
Well, no, indeed. Go on, you have to be relatively quick, but what would you like to say about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. I think it's probably the single worst decision Trump has made since he was elected this time around. I just think it's extraordinarily tin-eared. I think there's a very, very legitimate anger building about the extent to which this is being covered up. And I think there's the vanilla version, which is just that Trump's name appears on the records and he doesn't want his own reputation. And then there's the considerably more sinister version, which is that Epstein himself was a foreign intelligence asset. The most prominent finger points at Mossad online, and that it is Israel's pressure is being brought to bear on him not to put that cover at risk of being blown, and he's making no friends at all by not allowing it to be exposed to the cleansing light of sunshine and interrogation.
Well, maybe we'll never know. Yeah. But it does seem very bizarre to suddenly be like, "Hey, what list? No list? No. Well, the list you said you'd seen. Anyway. Right, well, when we come back, we are going to play you that long-promised clip of Ozzy Osbourne looking for his beers, and also pupils have been put in isolation at a school for sporting Union Jacks on a culture day. Is that happened again, is it? Anyway, right, stay tuned. We'll find out.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's going to stay sunny across much of southern Europe this week, increasingly hot in Greece, but rather windy at times for Portugal and the Canaries. It's often windy for the Canary Islands at this time of year, but it's even more so over the next few days. Likewise for Portugal. Plenty of sunshine, however, through Iberia. A lot of showers through the Pyrenees and southern France. Italy, largely fine across much of the country, but we've got the heat building in Greece. Temperatures inland up to 43 Celsius.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. We've been teasing this, obviously, in honour of the one and only Ozzy Osbourne, sadly passing away today at the age of 76. We just wanted to show you this infamous beer clip.
Darling. Someone has been in my room and taken my beers away from my room.
I don't think so, darling. Who would do that? Who could possibly do that? Who's the beer thief? You. You're the beer thief.
Oh, Ozzy, there we are.
He made it to 76.
I know.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. What a man.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's great.
Midland Steel.
Midland Steel. We just wanted to squeeze this one in. So this is inside tomorrow or Wednesday's Sun newspaper. Dozens of pupils were put in isolation at school for sporting Union Jacks on a culture day, furious parents claimed yesterday. Leanne Whirl said her 15-year-old daughter Isabel, who draped a flag over her shoulders, was among those held in meeting rooms, and said that when Isabel questioned the decision, she ended up being suspended for 5 days for arguing. Ormiston Sandwell Community Academy in Oldbury, West Midlands, insisted pupils had been allowed to wear Union Jacks, but it added, "We have clear guidelines on non-uniform days. No student was suspended to their choice of their outfit on that day." Well, it is bizarre. I mean, someone's not telling the truth, are they? Also, I can't help but wonder what that other story is on that.
I'm glad you mentioned it, Patrick. It's quite distracting, that, really.
Somebody drape a Union Jack.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Oh, no, we can't leave that on the screen. Anyway, right, what do we do?
Great British culture, right? That's culture.
Put a Union Jack over that. So, Jamie, what do you think? Do you think this is... I've been assuming the parents are telling the truth. It's bad luck for the school, probably.
Well, I can believe it, because I remember putting an England flag on a leaflet when we did a mock election and was told, be careful, you're coming across a bit far right here. So I can believe it. Unfortunately, some teachers, they can't help themselves. They're just so wrapped up in a certain ideology. And there's a part of me that thinks it's a bit of a coincidence this has happened so soon after that very high-profile one in Warwickshire. But, you know, I think ultimately, I think it's wonderful that kids want to wrap themselves in the flag of their country. Most other countries, that's quite normal and people are encouraged to do these things. In this country, it's the opposite.
It's quite bad PR for the school, though, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, it wasn't normal 5 or 10 years ago. It certainly wasn't normal in my time, because it was felt it was part of the beauty of being English was you could be very understated about it. It was understood we were the supreme nation in the history of the world, and you didn't need to brag about it, you know. But now it's starting to feel under pressure. It's under threat. Our cultural identity, our national history, not celebrated to the same extent that everybody else seems to have a day, everybody else seems to have a month or whatever. And it's coming up. And it's these little isolated cases, amusing and or irritating as they might seem, I think are the vanguard of something much larger. I think you're going to start to see a lot more of this. I think a lot of the same sort of people who appeared on the streets of Epping who would not have considered themselves remotely far right a few months ago, but have just been pushed a bit too far. And I think you're starting to see all these little strains, all these seams coming undone on what used to be a very delicate balance.
Yeah, people are just a bit sick of it. I think we've only got a few seconds, Matthew, but it's just a bit...
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being British, nothing wrong with this. I can't help but feel this is a load of dads that have got together to sort of cause a bit of... Very, very bizarre for it to happen again. The first one I can believe. Some people are stupid, teachers have gone, this is, you know, they've misread the room. This, a dozen of them? No, I'm not having it.
Well, we'll see. We'll get more detail. We'll have to get more detail. I'm going to finish with just a quick roundup of the newspapers. The Metro, pandemic aged our brains, apparently, which made us older. The Eye, British workers will get an emergency access to their pension. Daily Express, it's a distressing image, this, so watch out. But for pity's sake, stop this now. And it is a starving baby in Gaza. The Guardian, Israel faces growing outrage over indefensible killing of civilians. The Daily Mail, British Air India families are sent the wrong bodies. The Telegraph, police take pro-migrant protesters to an asylum hotel. But The Sun has the front page of the wonderful Wizard of Ozzy. It is, of course, Ozzy Osbourne. He's passed away after a battle with Parkinson's, and it must be said a varied and storied life anyway. So we thought that the best thing to do would probably be to say goodbye to you guys first and then let Ozzy Osbourne have the final word on this show. So thank you very much, everybody, anyway. Thank you for everyone who's been watching and listening. Let's hand it over to you, Ozzy.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Evening. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A messy picture again tomorrow. A lot of cloud, some sunny spells and a few heavy showers, which may turn into thunderstorms across parts of the south. The pressure pattern is a messy mixture, flabby area of low pressure just sitting to the north of Scotland. That's helped to generate some lively downpours today. They're tending to fade away now, but more showers coming into Wales and southwest England through the night, also likely to affect the South Midlands. Might get woken up by a rumble of thunder here and there. But many places will become dry. There'll be some breaks in the cloud, temperatures holding up in the teens. On to Wednesday's detail, and as I said, it is still pretty messy, likely to start with outbreaks of rain over South Wales, parts of southern England, the South Midlands, also northwestern parts of Scotland, but probably through the central belt, southern Scotland, decent chance of a dry start, maybe even some sunshine here and there. A mixture of clouds and a few showers for Northern Ireland, but also perhaps some bright spells. And a brighter start for northeast England, parts of East Anglia also starting off with some sunshine. But in this zone over South Wales, southwest England, parts of the Midlands, a fair bit of cloud and some scattered heavy showers. And through the day, we are likely to see more showers developing, especially in southernmost counties of England, up into parts of East Anglia where we could see a few slow-moving thunderstorms, dropping a lot of rain in just 1 or 2 locations, whereas 5 miles away it may be completely dry. Not too many showers further north, decent chance of a drier day here. Temperatures about average. With some sunshine though, it will feel quite warm. We should see a bit more sunshine on Thursday and not as many showers. Having said that, still quite grey across parts of eastern England with some outbreaks of rain coming in from the North Sea. The odd shower elsewhere, but it should be fairly light. As I said, many places looking dry on Thursday, a bit brighter as well, probably feeling a little warmer as well. Temperatures mostly high teens to low 20s.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225.